So, you want to learn how to animate on the iPad? Stick around and I'll tell you how I learned to animate on the iPad, and I'll share tips and tricks along the way. First of all, you need an iPad and an Apple Pencil. If you got those two things, then you're ready to animate. If you don't, then you better bug your mom about buying you one. Mom, I want an iPad and an Apple Pencil! Second, you need to download an animation app. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of animation apps out there. The ones that I've used are Animation Desk and Procreate. Today, I'm only going to be going over Procreate because it's what I mainly use now. And Animation Desk, while it is good, isn't going to have all the tools that you can use in Procreate. One thing I do like about Animation Desk before I get into Procreate is that it is free. So if you want to practice animation over there, go ahead and do it. Now, time to talk about Procreate. So, Procreate is like an upgraded version of Autodesk for animation. It has a lot of the same features, but it's just overall a little bit better. Things that are different are the following. More tools like the variety of brushes you could use, a better interface, as well as animation assist, and better coloring overall.
Write that down! Write that down!
Let's open a canvas by pressing here. I have a lot of presets, but if you're just starting out, you can hit the plus button and put in the following options. So we're in, but how do I animate? Well, to start, we gotta click on this wrench guy and hit the animation assist button. You'll notice different things pop up, and I'll explain it all right now. If you click over here, we see frames per second, which is how many frames you see for every second of animation. The higher this number, the smoother your animation will be, but it'll take longer to animate. The lower the number, the animation won't take as long to animate, but it'll not be as smooth. Color secondary frames is great for keyframe animation, so turn that on. Basically, it just turns the frames that are behind you red and the frames that are in front of you green. This helps you keep track of what your figure should look like next when you're doing some complex animations. Onion skin means how many frames you can see transparently ahead and behind you. This is important to make sure your figures are the same size and shape during your animation. So let's get started. We add frames by pressing here. I'm going to animate a stick guy throwing a ball. So what you want to do is just draw what the stick guy is going to look like. And an important thing about animation is making sure your figures are the same size and shape all throughout the entire animation. When you first draw something on the canvas, you're drawing what's called a frame. In animation, every drawing you do is called a frame. It's kind of like if you've ever seen in Call of Duty, it says you're playing at 60 frames per second, or a movie that you watch is playing at 24 frames per second. Basically what that means is there's 60 frames of animation for every second it's on your screen. Now 60 is kind of high for regular animated cartoons and stuff. Usually it's 24. For this example, we're only going to do 8 frames per second because we're just practicing and I'm not trying to use this to get a job at Disney. What I'm doing here is I'm actually drawing the floor and then I'm duplicating the layer a lot. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm not going to draw the floor for every single frame there is, because the floor is never moving. I'd rather just draw the floor one time and duplicate the layer across all the frames that the animation is going to go through. Like that, I don't have to draw the floor for every second of animation that you guys watch. We could draw him throwing the ball from start to finish, which is called step-by-step animation. But I'd rather do keyframe animation. Keyframe animation is when you only draw the important frames first and then fill in what's in between later. So we could draw him standing, him getting ready to throw, and him throwing. So this is the animation with just the keyframes. As you can see, it's pretty smooth the way it is now, and we're going to be going in later to add some in-between frames. When you do keyframe animation, you always got to add some in-between frames to make sure your animation is as smooth as possible. If you go to the settings and adjust the frames per second, you'll see that making the number higher will make the playback go much quicker. If you make the number lower, the playback will be a lot slower. Remember, the higher the number, the smoother your animation is going to be, but you're going to have to do more in between frames to make the animation look good and make sense and just be overall good quality animation. Now we can draw all the frames in between and make a moving picture. And that's pretty much it for how to animate on the iPad. I know you guys might be wondering, well, I don't want to animate stick people. I want to animate cool stuff like superheroes and anime characters. Well, it's important to start with the basics. When I started out, all I did was stick figures, and it's pretty fun, to be honest. It lets you mess around with all the cool features that animation has to offer without worrying too much about technical stuff like, that arm looks too big, or that guy shouldn't be that far off the ground at that point in the animation. None of that really matters when you're messing with stick people because you can do whatever you want and it's just practice and it's fun. I suggest you start out like this because it's how I started out and it's the best way to learn, in my opinion. Ta-da! Your first animation. So that pretty much wraps this up. Hopefully you guys learned a thing or two about animation, whether it be what should I start animating or how do I access the frames per second. I tried covering as many things as possible in this video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you.